Morning, everyone. Morning. I only have 3 pages. So. Well, as I said last week, we are blessed to have a lot of things going on. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Just pick and choose what enhances your particular situation. These are in no particular order, so they're going to, like, some happen immediately and some happen down the road piece, but make a note, put it on your refrigerator. Roundtable dinners are back. The next dinners are scheduled for Friday, Saturday, November 10th and 11th. The reason that we're talking about it that far ahead is we're still looking for folks to sign up and host, as I understand it anyway. If you host, it's not too bad. You provide a simple main dish and the guests bring sides or dessert. If you want to just attend the dinner, or if you want to host, there's a sign up on one of the tables in the foyer. Tomorrow night is the concert of the Austin Brass Band. Some of you have trusted me before when I've told you that if you come, you will like it. This is one of those concerts. It's free. If you don't like it, I'll happily refund your money. So tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Bridget Farr is a member of our church and is principal at a public Montessori school. And a lot of you may not have met Bridget because she is a regular attendee in the 8:15 service. But she has published, well, at least 3 books. And we're going to have her introduce her 3 books. They are written toward teen and tween age group. And she's going to talk about them next Sunday after this service. And so really would like some folks to stay and thank her for her contribution. She's quite accomplished. So that's next week after the service. Celebrate Hispanic Immigrant Heritage, October the 29th. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the main lobby. your donation. It says, offer your donations for these treasures of Latin America. There are products, and there are also Ilda, who has lived here in Sanctuary, also has handmade dolls and crafts. So that is happening October 29th. Hello? The St. Andrews Community Picnic is happening November 5th, 12:30 p.m. That's a Sunday. We're going to clean up the day before. Fall Cleanup Day is Saturday, November 4th. Set aside a few hours. There's a long list of jobs you can help with, from painting to cleaning to landscaping to repairs, something for every skill level. And it also says it can appeal to your desire for immediate results. You can see the results of your work. All right, you may want to bring work gloves, paint clothes. Donuts and coffee are provided to those who come early. Okay. You should have been given a yellow announcement sheet on your way in. If not, you can grab one on the way out. Tells more things that are going on. One in particular I've been asked to highlight has to do with sending videos in. And what was the topic?
Baptism last week.
If you took some video last week at the baptism, they're asking you can contribute those to a compilation that's being put together. Is that the way it is? Okay. Gosh, can that be all?
David?
Yes?
That film that was scheduled for this afternoon at 2 o'clock will be delayed until next month.
Next month, date to be set?
9th, I believe.
Okay. Film that was to happen after the service today?
It was a 2 o'clock film on the Israeli and Palestinian situation. And because of the demonstrations going on at the Capitol, they postponed it.
Okay, till November. Do I need to repeat that? No. Okay. All right, thank you for being patient with all of those. It is a busy time of year. I also want to announce that the choir has begun working on Christmas music. If you would like to sing just for Christmas, and I highly encourage it, of course, you can come on Wednesdays and rehearse just Christmas. Just come at 8:30. Let's begin our service.
I was going to pick that up and put it on. Welcome, everyone. We are so glad you're here. In this absolutely crazy time where it feels like there's nothing we can do to bring sanity to the Middle East or to Washington or even to our Texas legislature, I don't know about you, but I find that the community here is part of what's keeping me going. And I thank you all for being here. Let's welcome our friends on Zoom. Hi, everybody. And our friends on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And please let us know you're here. And anyone who hasn't, give us your email address so we can send you our weekly e-news. And so if you're new or relatively new, I can be in contact with you as well. We will not be having a Meet the Ministers, thank you, sir, today. I know we usually do it on the third Sunday, but we're not able to this week. So we probably won't have another one because of all the craziness now until January. But I will be keeping in contact with people, and please reach out to me by email if you have any questions or needs. And with that, and the most exciting thing today is that we are so blessed to have the Reverend Dr. David Zuniga. He is a Zen Buddhist priest and a psychologist, and he's here to share his wisdom with us. He's a longtime friend of our church, and we're just so excited that he's here. And with that, let us come together in community.
Good morning. Please join me in our call to community. May our souls be united in praise and wonder.
For that which remains still amid the flow.
For that which remains quiet amid the music.
For that which remains cool amid the heat.
For that which remains dark amid the blaze.
For that which remains alive amid death.
For that which remains while all is changing.
For all these, let us give thanks and praise.
Please rise as you're able.
Good morning. I want to invite the young and young at heart up for our puppet show. And I know I see quite a few bags of food in the aisles. Those are for our food pantry. If you can help, that would be great.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's big. Thank you.
I think so.
Oh, good. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today? Morning, Jack. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Hey, let me show you something I learned.
Oh, okay, Jack. What
I'm
did
gonna,
you learn?
I'm gonna show you. Are you ready?
I think so. What are you going to do?
Well, I can't tell you. I have to show you. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Well, I have to concentrate.
Concentrate.
Yeah, don't say anything for a sec while I concentrate.
Are you still
Oh,
concentrating?
well, I asked you not to say anything. Now I have to start all over.
Oh, dear, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
we really need to have our lesson.
Yeah.
Can you concentrate for a shorter time?
Well, I'll try. Oh, heck, I can't concentrate. I'll just show you. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, watch. Hi-ya!
Oh, dear.
Did you see that? That was a karate chop. I'll do it again. Hi-ya! Pretty good, huh? I'm learning karate.
Jack, how are you learning karate?
Mr. Monkey.
Mr. Monkey. Mr. Monkey doesn't know karate. Jack, Mr. Monkey isn't charging you for karate lessons, is he?
No. He loaned me a movie.
He loaned you a movie.
Yeah, I told him I wanted to learn karate, and so he said to watch this movie he loaned me, and boy, is it good. It's got hi-yas all through it. Hi-ya! See, I learned pretty good, didn't I?
Jack, why are you learning karate?
Well, to defend myself, of course.
Defend yourself. From what?
Well, it's kind of embarrassing, Hortense. There's this tomcat lives across the field from me, and he's been making fun of me.
Well, that's very sad. Are you going to show him?
No, but there's another line. Hey, where is it? Okay, well, he hadn't hit me, but he calls me names like, hey, long ears, and here comes Fluffy Tail. Well, he won't laugh anymore. Hi-ya!
Jack, stop hi-ying. Let's talk about this. First, violence never solves anything. And second, words don't have to hurt us. We can only be hurt by words if we let them. And third, you're a rabbit, right?
Yeah, of course.
Jack, rabbits have long ears.
Yes, so.
And Jack, turn around, let's see your tail.
What?
Come on, turn around. Yes.
What's your point, Hortense?
Well, Jack, being a rabbit, wouldn't you say that rabbit tails are fluffy?
Yeah.
And things like that the cat is laughing about, they're part of what make you a rabbit. It's who you are. You should be proud of your lovely long ears and your fluffy tail. You wouldn't feel like a rabbit without them, would you?
Well, no, I guess not.
So be proud of what you are.
Proud, huh?
You're made to be a rabbit, and you should be proud of it.
Well, I guess I never thought about it that way. All I could hear was the laughing. But I guess it'd be pretty silly for a rabbit not to have long ears and a fluffy tail, huh?
You're right.
Okay, this'll be great. Next time they laugh, I'll just stand tall and say, long ears, I'm a rabbit, duh. Thanks, Hortense.
You're welcome. And that can be our lesson today. Girls and boys, be who you are.
Hortense,
Yes.
do you really think my ears are lovely?
Yes, of course I do, Jack. And I like your fluffy tail, too.
Need doggies.
It's time to wrap up our lesson. And I think the thing to remember is to always be proud of who you are, because you're the only person in the world just like you. See you next time.
See ya.
All right, my friends, before we go to chapel, Miss Peggy wants to share something from Sunday school.
Okay, this morning we had a lesson about Jesus calming the sea, and we did art that shows the angry sea and the calm sea. So watch for that in some of the kids' hands after church.
You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
We come to that time when we pause to reflect and lift up some of the concerns of our community, so I invite you to join me. Once again, we come together in very difficult times. Some of the members of our one human family have somehow reached a point where their only response is violence against others. Nations that are at war with each other, and victims of those wars are the innocent adults and children who had no voice in the decision to go to war in the first place. Our very planet grows less inhabitable for people, plants, and animals in many areas. And we live in a time where power seems to be more desirable than taking care of each other. In the midst of all this, we continue to also celebrate joy and to find hope, for we are a resilient, joy-filled, and hopeful people. We seek to embrace uncertainty and change with an attitude of grace and peace. And so we pause today to lift up those affected by the wars around our world. May they too find grace and peace in the midst of their chaos and fears. We lift up all those who were able to get much needed food from our food pantry. May that food nourish their bodies and fill them with grace and peace. We lift up those within our own church family who are suffering or recovering from health and wellness issues and great losses. We particularly remember Greg, who is a former member of this congregation, along with his wife Carolyn and their two children. And Greg has passed away, and we lift up Carolyn and the children. I know that Carolyn lives in Virginia now. I'm not sure where the children are. We also hold up Marianne and Jim in our hearts as they mourn the loss of their son. We keep Jerry, who is having heart surgery this week, in our prayers. We're grateful that George is back home from rehab and doing well, and we hold both George and Linda, who is caring for him, in our prayers. We ask for prayers of comfort for Mike, and we remember his wife Diane, who is caring for him at home. We remember those on hospice care, Roger, Joyce, Walter, and their families, caring for them. We hold up Jan, Holly, Chris, Chuck, and versatile in our prayers this week. As we touch the ever-changing seasons of life, may we do so with hearts filled with compassion for ourselves as well as for all others. May we live with the same peace and justice that we wish for our world. In our actions, may we care deeply and go graciously. May we all find moments of grace, peace, and joy as we enter into this next week of our lives together. Amen.
Our first reading this morning is a poem from Lee Young Lee. The birds don't alter space, they reveal it. The sky never fills with any leftover flying. They leave nothing to trace. It is our own astonishment collecting in chill air. Be glad. They equal their due moment, never begging, and enter ours without parting day. See how 3 birds on a winter tree make the tree barer. 2 fly away and new rooms open up in December. Give up what you guessed about a whirring heart with little beaks and claws, their constant hunger. We're the nervous ones. If even one of our violent number could be gentle long enough that one of them found it safe inside our finally untroubled and untroubling gaze, who wouldn't hear what singing completes us? The second reading will be done by Dr. Zuniga.
Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being, common to us all and to all living things, evoking the presence of the great compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other, with humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us. Let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. From Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh.
And I'll say. Everybody still hear me? Okay. Thank you, everyone. So I had the presence of sitting with your ministerial team on Tuesday morning, and I was invited to speak, and I'm honored to be here. And one of the things we talked about, kind of just what's going on a micro level for a lot of us individually, including myself, and on a macro level in our society, is maybe we're feeling overwhelmed by the world. Maybe we're feeling kind of burnt out. And so that's originally what I was going to speak about. And then as I thought to myself, I kind of thought, oh my goodness, probably like all of you, seeing the news, reading news articles, seeing the things that are unfolding in the world, especially in the Middle East and amidst our own government, things that are going on, it can feel really overwhelming. And as I was reflecting on what I was going to say today, one of the things I did want to at least give mention to is what's happening in the Middle East. It seems so deeply cyclical, and it seems so hard to even talk about. And so I found two things that were helpful in my own formation, and I'm just going to read these briefly. One of which is from a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, and the poem is Recommendation. Even as they strike you down with a mountain of hatred and violence, even as they step on you and crush you like a worm, even as they dismember and disembowel you, remember, my friends, remember, humanity is not the enemy. And speaking to what's happening in the Middle East, so probably everybody's heard of Thich Nhat Hanh. He founded a Zen community, an international Zen community really, named Plum Village. And the Plum Village International Monastic Community just put out a statement on what's happening in the Middle East, which I won't read in its entire. I'll just read two brief excerpts, but it's worth Googling. And again, it's from the Plum Village International Monastic Community, and they're talking about the most recent, just in the last couple of weeks, what's unfolded in the Middle East, and hopefully bringing out an eventual cessation of what is the hostilities that are happening. The war's cessation now depends on our capacity as human beings to listen deeply, resist polarization and discrimination, and take concrete steps towards lasting reconciliation with love in our hearts. Love, compassion, and courage need to have a place in politics. So let us create islands of nonviolence and peace in our hearts, in our homes and beyond, via email, phone, and video. Let us live every moment seeing those we think of as the enemy as not separate from ourselves, as our own blood, skin, and bones. And let us not allow hatred to take over. Let us come back and take care of our feelings with calm and clarity, holding our sadness, fear, anger, and despair, and resist the temptation to blame, punish, and have to choose a side. Signed, with all beings suffering in the hell of war, the Plum Village International Monastic Community. So, thank you for letting me share that. So originally, when I was thinking what I would call my sermon, Dharma talk, I thought I'd call it Returning to a Skillful Path, which is a very Zen-y thing to say. Yeah, and I like that, but returning to a skillful path, and then this passage from the Plum Village International Monastic Community, I have to tell you, my friends, it really touched my heart. And I love the phrase, creating islands of nonviolence and peace in our own hearts. That really resonated with me. There's a classic, there's kind of a classic old Zen story of there's a Zen master and a social justice advocate talking together, and they're kind of talking about their paths and kind of how they're similar and different. And the social justice advocate says to the Zen master, she says, oh, well, you know, I really love Zen because in Zen, ultimately, you're creating a path that's inward, where you have a path of calmness amidst the craziness of our world. You know, and as a Zen monk, I like that. But I have to tell you, so I also happen to be a psychologist. As a psychologist, I can say one of the best ways to change our emotions, our unhelpful thoughts, our unhelpful behaviors or relationship patterns, one of the best ways to change is to actually change our environment, to change our society. So it's not an either or, it's a both and. But one of the things I wanted to focus on today was, as they talk about with the Plum Village Monastic Community, creating islands of nonviolence and peace in our hearts. And I think when we talk about that, some of the ideas that are helpful for me, some kind of classic bedrock principles in Buddhism that are helpful for me when we talk about creating inward spaces of nonviolence. The first of these things, and when we think about the immensity of what's happening in our world, in our society, or maybe just our own personal lives, the first thing I always like to talk about, so there's a couple key ideas, and I think they're all interrelated. The first is the difference between pain and suffering. Pain and suffering. We use those as kind of analogies or similes, and we think of them as being similar, and they are, but they're subtly and significantly different. Pain is inevitable. Pain will occur. As we say in Buddhism, we all get older, we all get sick, everything is impermanent, everything changes. Life involves pain. There is difficulty. Sometimes, the more valuable something is, the more difficulty and pain it might involve. Sometimes, not that we want to punish ourselves, but sometimes the more you're in the world, the more pain you will feel. If you read biographies or autobiographies of any great person, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Mother Teresa, Desmond Tutu, Maya Angelou, whoever it is, sometimes the people who do the most in the world, the most enlightened people among us, have the most profound, deep pain. Sometimes this is true. But pain is not suffering, at least from the Buddhist perspective. Suffering is a little different. Suffering is when we cling to things that cause our pain to become even worse. Significantly, suffering from a Buddhist context is often when we move away from our values, from our purposeful path. Maybe you have great difficulty in your life. Maybe you take one step forward and, oh my goodness, you take 4 or 5 steps back. So hard, so difficult. But that is not necessarily suffering, because you're engaging in your purpose. You're engaging in your values. You're engaging in what matters most. We'll come back to that idea of values in just a second. But we want to understand, at least from the Buddhist context, that if you are in the world, if you're doing the work that matters, if you're doing your very best, even when you make mistakes, again and again and again, the intention matters. Your values matter. And in a very similar way, a kind of facet of the same diamond is the notion of the word. We have 2 main concepts for suffering in Buddhism. And one of those concepts is the term that we use. It's called samsara. Samsara is a Sanskrit word, and it's also fun to say, samsara. It's kind of just a cool word, isn't it? Sanskrit's fun. But samsara. And samsara translated to English literally means to journey. So if we were to say, you have samsara, in a way, we're not even saying you're suffering. What we're saying is, you are on a journey. And one of the reasons I like that personally, my friends, is because we tend to think of suffering as a monolithic entity. Suffering, it will never change. No, no, no. In Buddhism, we say everything changes. Everything changes. So the reason we call suffering samsara in Buddhism is because suffering is a journey. Now, suffering is when we cling to things that cause us to suffer more. It's kind of like a descending vortex. But suffering is a journey. Suffering can be reversed. Suffering can then start to move in an upward direction. And often, I do believe this in my heart, the things that cause us the greatest difficulty, the greatest mistakes we sometimes might make in our life, are also the very thing that might help liberate us and reverse us out of that difficulty. So we want to think about the difference between pain and suffering. You might be having great difficulty in your life, but from the Buddhist perspective, if you're adhering to your values, if you have good intentionality, if you are working hard, if you're adhering to your path, as painful as you might be, and I hope you're not in pain, but you will be in pain sometimes. It is inevitable. If are on our value-based path, you're not suffering, and you may be changing the world. You may be reversing these cycles of samsara. And this brings us to another thing, the idea of acceptance. People sometimes say to me, Dave, I need to accept this more. You know, I need to accept this. I need to be a good Buddhist, or be a good Christian and accept this. Oh, acceptance. We throw the word acceptance around, I think a little bit like a hammer or a cudgel. We kind of beat up on ourselves, like, why don't you accept this more? You should accept this. I don't think that's the way acceptance works. Acceptance doesn't mean that everything's hunky-dory, that everything's okay, that we don't feel pain. Again, we will feel pain. What acceptance is we bring ourselves back to our path again and again and again. Sometimes you will make mistakes. I make a ton of them every day. Acceptance means we make a path individually and as a community to bring ourselves back. That's the spiritual path. And so the last thing I want to say too, and I think this really relates to the idea of peacemaking in the world, we distinguish between goals and values. And I think we get those confused a little bit. Goals are very good. We might have all kinds of goals, I was sharing this with maybe Donna, I don't know, somebody earlier today. I like to eat healthy. That's one of my goals, right? Sometimes I feel sad, this is true, and I'll have a little bit of comfort eating, So I might have the value of healthy eating, right? I have the goal of eating healthy day to day. Do I always eat healthy day to day? No, I do not. But I have the wider value-based path of taking care of my health. Goals are very, very good. Goals are short. They're, psychologists love goals because we can measure goals. We can, are you meeting your goals? Are you not meeting your goals? You can, track it, measure it, all this kind of good stuff. It's good. But if we only think about goals, I will accomplish this social justice goal or that social justice goal. That's good stuff. But if we get caught in the short term, it's kind of like we say in Buddhism, it's like monkey mind. We're leaping from tree to tree to tree, looking for things to bring us nirvana. Nirvana isn't goals. It's your way of being in the world, your values, your purpose. So when we think about our values are why we're here. They're verbs, they're adverbs, they're how we live our life. Sometimes I do this with my clients. I call it the death test. When you're staring back at the end of your life, when you're thinking about what's most important, what really matters to you? What do you want the story of your life to look like? As both Nietzsche and the pop star Kelly Clarkson said, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. What is it that's really important to you? What really matters? Ground yourself in your values amidst these difficult times. Ground yourself in what matters most to you. Thank you, my friends.
Our tradition to spend a minute pondering what we've heard.
I'm Celeste. This is my dad, my mom and my brother. We go to St. Andrews and we really love it there because we all get to share our ideas and, well, we all get to express our feelings and we get to do activities and, well, we get to have fun. We get to play outside. To get our energy out, we get to do things that helps us, like express our feelings in different ways. Like sometimes you can draw it, you can sing, and we play games that can help us learn each other. And I really like how we all get to share, we all get to learn more about each other, and that we can do different things. Like sometimes we do a thing with music, but sometimes we do a thing with art, sometimes we do a thing with games. You know, like we always get a chance to experience something new in each class. I really like how in chapel sometimes new visitors come in to help us do an activity. And I really like how we always get to hear a story and sometimes we'll use props for it. And it makes me feel like everybody can understand it better. Giving us hope for the future. We hope you love St. Andrews as much as we do.
So we hope that you will consider pledging. Please stop by the pledge table in the lobby on your way out and consider increasing your pledge or starting your pledge if you haven't already. Your pledge will help our community at St. Andrews. Thank you.
We love St. Andrews and we love to be there.
Now go to chapel, girl, go.
How wonderful that was. Just to let you know that we fed 172 households yesterday in our food pantry, which is an increase of 20 households from just a month ago. 30 of them were new, and we fed a total of 702 folks. So if you'll join us in our call to service. Made for the life of love, gathered as the church for others, we offer our gifts for the possibilities of the beloved community. Let us be thankful as we give that we can do more together than we can do alone. May our open hearts and open hands change us and help change the world. If our ushers would please come forward.
We're going to pause for a moment before our final hymn to have a congregational meeting. I'll ask Steve to come forward. The purpose of this meeting is to elect an elder to fill the one vacancy that we still have for our next class. And so Steve will present the nominees, and then I will open the floor for other recommendations. Thank you, Beth. I'm going to use this. Feel free to be tall.
Good morning. I want to remind everyone, the reason we do this is because the nominating team reports to the congregation. All other committees in the church report to session. Nominating team nominates session members. So it's important that the congregation be in control of this, and that's why we do it today. We have a slate we presented last month, but we were missing one person. The slate remains the same with one addition. So the slate for this class of 24 to 27, three-year class, is Ed Kopis, Vicki Lynn Salata, Martha Cole, and Janelle Howe. That's our new addition.
So the committee has nominated Janelle Howe to fill that position. Are there any other nominations from the floor?
Move the nomination cease and we elect by acclamation. Second.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded that we accept this nomination by acclamation. All those in favor say aye or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. All those opposed, same sign. I move that it has happened. Janelle Howe has been elected to our session. That concludes our congregational meeting, and our clerk is actually here today. Must have gotten cool enough for her to come back to Texas. So we're grateful to have Paula back with us, and so that concludes our congregational meeting, and we will close it with our closing hymn.
Please rise as you're able.
This is your staff minus Reverend Rigby, and we are so happy to have Reverend Dr. Zuniga here. And should you need anything while Jim Rigby is gone, please feel free to contact one of us. And now let us go out and create islands of nonviolence and peace in our hearts. Even though we know that we may face or may be facing pain, help us to focus on our purpose and mission so that our pain doesn't spiral into suffering. Islands of nonviolence and peace. May it be so. Amen.